Hey everyone, and welcome to the second part of my Moving to Norway series. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about what you should and shouldn't bring if you are coming to Norway for a year for an exchange, or if you're coming for a job, whatever have you. If you are moving to Norway, here's a list of things you should consider bringing or maybe not bringing. So without further ado, let's get into the list. So if you are moving to Norway, you will eventually get a doctor assigned to you, but until then, it is really important for you to bring any medication that you are on to last you until you do meet a doctor in Norway. Personally, I still travel back home a couple times a year, and when I do that, I get my medication back at home and bring it with me. That is because it is cheaper that way. I don't know what the price of my medication would be in Norway, but other medications that I have picked up have been rather expensive. So if you know your medication works and you have enough to last you for a few months, definitely bring it with you before trying the Norwegian system, because you're going to have to wait to get into that system anyway, and you don't want to go without your medication. Another thing that kind of falls in the category of medication and health is vitamins. If you have a certain brand of vitamins or dietary supplements that you like to take, definitely bring a supply of those with you. That is because in Norway, while you can get dietary supplements and vitamins, the amount that you get for the price that you pay is not that great. They're very expensive. You don't get the wide selection of them, and if there's particular ones that you like, bring them with you, just because it avoids the hassle of trying to look for them. And even if you can find them in Norway, you're probably going to find that they're a lot more expensive from wherever you're coming from. Similarly, if there's any type of cough and cold medication or stuff for your stomach, basically any over-the-counter medications that you take wherever you're from, you might want to bring a supply of those with you as well, only because Norway can be very strict about what over-the-counter medications they have, and if you are really used to taking something, you might have a really tough time finding it in Norway. For an example, I like to have Strepsils or Cepacol throat lozenges. If you're from the US, you would know what those are, for my throat when I get sore throats, because they have a numbing agent in them, but you cannot get those in Norway. So if you're like me and get sore throats frequently and you want to have some kind of antiseptic / numbing agent for your throat, yeah, bring your throat lozenges with you, because the ones in Norway are very organic and they don't have much in them. Another over-the-counter thing you should bring with you is melatonin, especially for those who experience really bad jet lag or have a problem sleeping. And that is because in Norway, melatonin, while it is legal, you can only get it with a doctor's prescription, whereas in the United States, I know it's over-the-counter. So if you want to bring any kind of sleeping agents such as Nidal, or whether it be melatonin, bring those with you, because those are hard to find in Norway, or you need a prescription for them. Moral of the story in regards to medicine and healthcare: if you have stuff that works now, bring it with you so that when you do move to Norway and you do get sick, you have a supply of that stuff. And once your supply runs out, hopefully by then you know the system well enough to know what will work for you and what won't work for you, or if you have to go somewhere else to find medication. Because I myself have gone over to England several times to get Strepsils and to get Nidal and stuff that I know that works over the counter for me, but I can't get it in Norway. Now, in a greater context, if there is a particular brand of something that you like, bring it with you. For example, I really like this brand of deodorant. However, I can't get it in Norway because the selection is not as good, and they do have stick deodorants, but they don't have this one that I really like. So when I go, I bring several sticks of this deodorant with me. This can be applicable for a lot of things. I'm not going to go into a longer list, but basically if you have something you like, bring a supply of it with you, and then by the time your supply runs out, hopefully you'll have the opportunity to go back home or to go to another country where they might have it, and basically it just eases the adjustment period. For clothing, my biggest piece of advice would be to be prepared for all types of weather, because Norway just doesn't give a shit about different types of weather. They will have everything. There's even a saying in Norwegian that there's no such thing as bad weather but bad clothing, so keep that in mind when moving to the country. Bring a winter coat, bring a rain jacket, bring a pair of boots, and yeah, be prepared for rain, snow, and even warm weather, because Norwegian weather is kind of all over the place. But you don't have to bring a lot of those things. Just bring one of each, because that will be enough. And those are the basics that you really need to pack with you. T-shirts and jeans and stuff like that you can get at H&M for reasonably competitive prices. Even compared to the US, some of the prices are quite comparable. So if you do run out of t-shirts, that's not that big of a deal. However, you do want to bring a nice raincoat or like a winter coat with you, because while you can get those in Norway, they're expensive. Lastly, if you are someone who uses a hairdryer or a hair straightener, I would actually advise that you don't bring one. And this is especially applicable to those who are coming from countries where the outlets are different than a European outlet. If you're coming from Europe, another part of Europe, and you're moving to Norway, then yes, bring a hair straightener and bring a blow dryer if you do use one, because you'll have no problem with changing the outlets. Whereas someone who's coming from North America or from Australia or the UK, you're gonna have to change the outlets, and dealing with electricity, especially with hair tools, really kind of scares me, because even if you put a converter on it, sometimes you can like blow the socket and ruin your machine. So honestly, you can pick those up. You can pick hair dryers and hair straighteners up at Claes Olsen for pretty reasonably priced. That's where I got my hair straightener in Norway. I think I spent maybe like $50 US on it, which is cheaper than the hair straightener I have in the United States, and it works better. So, you know, for hair tools and stuff like that, if you really want to use them, I would suggest just buying them there, especially if you're going to be in Norway for a while. And last but not least, if you're going to Norway and you're going to be there for over a year, there are going to be times where you're going to get homesick and you're going to crave things that remind you of home. So because of that, I would highly recommend bringing some of your favorite comfort foods. Obviously, they have to be non-perishable, so, you know, chocolate or canned goods, or, you know, dry goods. Those are probably the best thing, because you can't bring meat or dairy or, you know, stuff that's going to go off, fruits and veg. You can't bring that into Norway, so those are kind of out of the question. But if there's anything from your home country that will, you know, if you keep a supply of that on hand and it'll get you through the tough homesickness times, totally go for it and bring them. I myself usually have a supply of maple syrup, Kraft Dinner, and sometimes even ketchup chips, because I just, you know, sometimes you kind of miss what you're used to and what you grew up with, so it's totally understandable if you want to bring that with you. So those are just some things that I would suggest bringing to Norway if you are going to be moving here. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any items you think I missed, or if there's any items that you would probably want to bring with you if you were going to be moving to another country. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys sometime next week. Bye!